episode 2 of the Worldwide Hoopers podcast. We've got the content done on episode 1. Today's Monday. We tried to upload it. It's up on YouTube, but Instagram, Facebook is down. So we're not going to post it tonight. Obviously, you guys have already watched it because it's already out. But for us, in real time, it's a struggle to get posted and put out. So that's going to be here, but this is episode 2. We've made it. We thank everyone that's watched episode 1, and thank you for coming back for episode 2. If you did like episode 1, we really appreciate it. So, and like always, I'm here with my boy J3.
What's up, man? How was the week?
The week was fine. I mean, it's the same week that we've had last week. You know, we spent all this time together. We played, since the first recording, 2 games?
Yeah, 2 games. We split this week, so first road game, which was, always an adventure.
First road game was brutal.
Yeah, it was.
We can
let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, we can call it what it is. It was brutal.
Yeah, it was just a tough game for us, but a nice bounce back win for our team. What was that, Saturday?
Massive home win on Saturday in the LKL, which puts us to 2-1 in the league. 2-game winning streak in the LKL, which is massive, huge for us, huge momentum boost. And it's really exciting. I mean, the Saturday game was very interesting. We were down like 15, maybe 17 points. I got smacked right upside the nose in the third quarter. Was bleeding out both nostrils. Still have a bit of, it's a bit sore still. Went into the locker room, cleaned up the blood, and when I stepped out, we were only down 3. So we pulled out a gutsy comeback win, which is good. It shows character for the team. There's teams that would just give up in that position, and yeah, it was good, man.
Yeah, I know we talked about it last time, but the fans, again, it was like, it's been fun to be in an environment and I feel that we're starting to build an environment like when teams come here, it's gonna be tough to win. Like you're gonna have to deal with like our crowd, that's. I feel like as we started to pick up our play, like there was real momentum and real energy, which gave us kind of like our second win. Which we hadn't been playing good basketball up until that point when you got knocked out of the game, but finally found our groove, and it was a fun game in terms of the fans and the interaction with the players and the fans. So
it wasn't even full. The crowd wasn't full, but they have these vuvuzelas, the horns be going off. If family and friends that have been watching the games, you obviously know from the broadcast that you can just hear them going on the whole time. So, but the crowds in Yonova have been awesome. And I think that, if anyone in Yonova or any fan in the LKL is watching, we've been talking this week about building a giveaway of sorts. So be on the lookout for that, probably on our Instagram, maybe even just through this podcast. We're going to be doing some giveaways, some ticket giveaways, some shirt giveaways, some whatever we can do sort of to keep boosting this momentum that we have in Yonova as a team. So that's something to look out for and look forward to for Lithuanians. But man, like you said, just solid to get a good home win. Fans are amazing and they've been amazing. Hopefully once it gets colder, they're still willing to come out and support us, because they're just, everyone's all into the game. They're getting so excited. You see people, even when we're just in the stores and stuff, recognize us. They don't really speak to us or anything, but they're recognizing us. I think Yonova is becoming more of a big basketball town. Like it's becoming sort of the talk of the town right now is our LKL season. But yeah, like in terms of the podcast and where we're sort of going to go from here, we want to sort of press more into the NBA, press more into watching Euroleague. We watched the first week of Euroleague this week, which we'll get into. Obviously, we want to talk about music as well. And just all things basketball, things that are going to help out listeners or things that might interest the listeners in going back and watching some of the stuff. But I think where we start with, we're a couple weeks out now. The NBA season's coming up. So
yeah, I mean it seems like every year with the way free agency's been taking place and the overall balance of the league at this time is I think it's really good. I think it's really good for the league in general. When you look at the beginning of of the season, and you're like, well, you can make a strong argument for 4, 5, 6 teams that could win it. But yeah, we got to sit back and on our day off watch some football. We watched some college football, watched some NFL games, and then we were actually able to turn on the first preseason game between Brooklyn and LA, and actually got to kind of sit back, which made us think, all right, what's next episode? What are we talking about? We got NBA going now, so
yeah,
everybody seems to be set on Brooklyn and LA in the finals. Yeah. What's your thoughts of even?
See, so what coming into this episode, I was like, well, it'd be fun for us to get perspectives of each other. So talk about maybe, our picks for who's going to be the champion, who we think the MVP is going to be, who our sleeper team is, who our flop team, which not necessarily a team that's going to be the worst, but a team that should be decent but are going to flop this year, what we think, and obviously our worst team. So I know it's sort of a cheat sheet that I send across to Jackson. We spoke about it. But yeah, I think that the Lakers for the championship, I think that the Lakers are a strong candidate if they can stay healthy. I think they'll really win it if the Nets aren't healthy, because I don't think anyone's beaten the Nets this year.
So it's like whichever team out of those two is most healthiest, you have that's who you pick.
Well, I think that if the Lakers are healthy, and they're healthy in the playoff time, they're gonna win. If the Nets don't have their whole team. The Nets are going to win it, in my opinion.
Okay, so the Nets are like your favorite.
The Nets are they're going to win it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So only way LA wins it if the Nets aren't healthy and the Lakers are full strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's sort of a cop out, but I'll say I can just put right here the Nets are going to win their NBA championship this year.
Okay. I don't know why I can't bet on that. If I don't bet, but I wouldn't. I feel like that's the safe bet because you're like, all right, if they've got those 3 guys, they got a 3-headed monster. If they're all healthy, you would bet money that they would win. But I just for whatever reason, for me, it's the Bucks. I think that we saw Giannis finally figure out the mental aspect of playing in a series and understanding defenses and what he needed to do offensively to make sure his team was in the right spot. And then they've just got a lot of really good pieces. So I'm gonna go Bucks. Go Bucks. I want I'm an LA fan because I'm a Bron fan.
Yeah.
Which I'd love to see him get his 5th one. I'm just very interested to see with that old of a roster if they can hold up for that long. You talked about.
Did the Bucks pick anyone up this year? They lost PJ Tucker.
That's a big loss.
And that's a monster loss.
That's a massive loss, which another team that we'll talk about, but where he ended up, they could be.
Oh, they could be nice.
They could be sneaky.
They could be nice. They could sneak Milwaukee, in my opinion. I don't know if they could necessarily sneak the Nets at full health, but I don't know. Like you said, we can talk about his team. I think we both are on the same wavelength there. Right. MVP. For me, it's an interesting one. You can start off the MVP debate because it's for me, it's just it could be anyone.
I've gotten to the point where I'm not even interested in the MVP anymore because of how they're. It's what is the criteria anymore?
It's just not MVP. It's not the most valuable player. And I think last year with Jokic, fair enough. He was the most valuable player. He's the reason Denver went so far, and he put those points up. But in recent years, it's been more who is the most entertaining to watch, who is being the most dominant. But it's not in terms of MVP. For me, I think that it should be after the playoffs as well.
Yeah, and it's just.
I get that it's regular season MVP and then there's finals MVP, but I don't know. I don't like seeing MVPs go out in the first round or second round.
I agree with you, but there is a certain. So your team has to be good.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be great. What is? I don't really understand the correct. For me, if I'm picking MVP for this year, I'm gonna go with Luka.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I think that he might not get it is if Dallas isn't good enough as a team.
Yeah.
Which could happen. If they're 5th, 6th, 7th in the West, then definitely if they're lower than 4 or 5, then they won't give it to Luka. But it's like if he has the numbers to have it, then why not?
I don't get it. I mean, the media's the main people that do it, and like make it happen. But it was. I think LeBron's past his prime in terms of getting his MVP. He's still going to be an animal. I don't think his longevity wise for a whole season is going to be there. And that's just sort of what hurts him in that remark. For me, I think that someone that can do it is Anthony Davis. If he stays healthy, which is obviously such the biggest question mark ever for him because he's just always hurt. But if he stays healthy, he's a dominant player. He's a defensive player of the year type candidate, and then he just scores, and he's a bucket. So he could either come out and have all these people, that have just shit on him basically throughout the postseason, throughout everywhere, off season, AD's soft, AD's he's the Mickey Mouse player, blah blah blah. But he could come out with a vengeance and just rip into the league, in my opinion, if he stays healthy. But then again, it's that healthy question mark. And for me, I think that just like you said, Giannis has worked it out in the playoffs, and I just think that he can possibly just win another MVP. He's just so dominant.
He's going to have the numbers.
His numbers are going to be there, and the Bucks are going to be up in the contention. So if the Lakers aren't all the way up and Anthony Davis doesn't stay healthy, there's no chance. And Giannis is probably the clear cut MVP favorite,
right?
Because they can't really give it to Jokic again. He's going to have great numbers again, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and then it's tough because some of the other candidates, you got to think, Dame is going to be up there. You got to think Steph, Steph's pretty much every year is going to be up there. But if their teams aren't good enough, like we were saying earlier, it's how does somebody compete with, how does a Steph or a Dame match up with in the MVP conversation with, Giannis if the Bucks are atop the East? I mean, obviously, I would say KD, one of the three in Brooklyn, is obviously going to be up there in talks, or maybe multiple in Brooklyn. But I could also see them not giving it to one of them because
they just take away from each other.
They're taking away from each other statistically. So it's KD would be averaging 30 a game, but maybe he'll only average 25 a game because he's playing with those other two guys. So I mean, that's the only reason I wouldn't put one of them in there. But, it's an interesting conversation. So we were talking earlier about, teams, sleeper teams.
Yeah.
What's your sleeper team this year? Who you got?
And I wrote it down. It's not it's hard to sort of call them a sleeper team, but Miami is going to be nice this year. Miami with Kyle Lowry, bringing him in and then bringing PJ Tucker in, they're just a pack of dogs.
Hard nosed.
Just pack of dogs. So the thing is, they can't really be seen as a sleeper team because they're elite. They look really good. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think people are really giving them the credit they're giving, other teams. They might be a real powerhouse in the East this year.
Nobody's going to, enjoy playing against them,
No.
Because, it's different, when you're playing them, they're superstars, their big three or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, big three.
They guard. They're hard. The reason that they are superstars or all-stars or whatever you want to, title them or label them is based off of, their work ethic.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's
Every
not
single one of them.
They're obviously very gifted,
yeah.
But, Jimmy Butler is a dog. Kyle Lowry's a dog. Bam's a dog. You add PJ Tucker to the mix. And then you got great shooting. You got Tyler Hero. You got Duncan. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch them. And obviously, Spoelstra always does a good job coaching whoever he has. So
I mean, he's
I like that pick. I'm kind of mad you picked that because I feel like I would have. We were talking about them earlier.
Yeah, I think it's just such an easy one. Did you write down the Heat as well?
No, I got so I got Memphis.
Yeah.
So look, I mean that's a real, because I mean they play in the West. Right?
I did. Was it you or Kay that I beat down on 2K with Memphis?
Not me.
So
it wasn't me.
So I whooped Khalil. Khalil, if you're watching this, I whooped you with Memphis today. So I understand the sleeper topic.
Mark the date.
Yeah, just mark it down. Write down October 4th.
That was a good game though.
It was great.
I was there.
I was
there. I witnessed. It was a good game.
Okay. I'm still top of the
league.
league.
We had a bunch of good games today. We had.
I mean, you're saying that because you played and won. Well, were you 1-1?
I was 2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Kay was 1-2, and then I was
really good.
1-1. I mean, yeah.
I look good today.
You look good for a second place player.
I'm climbing the ladder. I had a real rough start, but I feel like we're starting to get our...
Everyone's starting to get their mojo into it.
Everybody's getting their rhythm.
Yeah.
Starting to score the ball a little bit better, shoot it a little bit better.
I think we have to I think there's going to be a segment next week after, I don't know, of we're going to set the mics up in the 2K dungeon next door, and we're just going to go at it.
I'm with it.
And I think that could be a solid 15-20 minute segment of just trash talk, beat downs, because we've gotten to the point now, we've played, I think everyone's played, I've played 10, they've both played 11, and we're all within like 2 games of each other. So those two are tied, Kay and Jax are tied, and then I'm up at the top of the league because I'm elite.
You notice how you put that in there, I'm up at the top.
You have to say you're elite and you're at the top when you are, because that's what it is. Right. But Memphis, great sleeper team, and that's why I put Charlotte being not so much an NBA title contender, but like in the East, they're young, they're athletic, they're building each and every year, and their coach seems to be, I don't know what their coach's name is, but dude, they were killing it last year, even through injuries. Like they might be that sleeper team that slides into the playoffs. Maybe they'll have
maybe not to the extent that Atlanta had, because Atlanta had a crazy turnaround. Like when you look at the amount of games.
Yeah, no.
So, but in comparison, like maybe they have a jump like Atlanta does, where it's like you go from your bottom of your league to moving up, and as the season goes on, start playing really good. Because LaMelo, obviously, as the year went on after his injury, he's looking really good, and they've got some pieces, like
Miles Bridges is nasty.
He's a dog.
Terry Rozier, dog.
In transition, they're scary because you got LaMelo bringing it up, and then you got all those athletic dudes.
Dude, they got the pieces to be like a young core that's just going to be animals. They got Kelly Oubre as well. They picked him up in the offseason.
They did pick up.
They picked Kelly Oubre up. He's gorgeous. No, I'm not. I'm not going to cut it out, but it's a joke. No, he is. That's a great pickup for them in terms of he's sort of a little bit more vetted in the league, if you can say. Because other than that, it's only Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, he'll give him some veteran leadership.
Yeah.
What about floppers?
I think in terms of they're not expected to do great things, but they should, because they traded away Anthony Davis. They got all these players from the Lakers, and then they tanked for Zion. The Pelicans are in their 3rd year now of this big rebuild and big we've tanked for Zion and it's gonna change our franchise. They let go of Lonzo Ball in the offseason. They let go of Eric Bledsoe as well, I believe. I don't know if he was there last year, but he's in the Clippers now. Mm-hmm. They just didn't do anything. The Steven Adams went to Memphis. I think they picked up Jonas Valanciunas. Good pickup, but you're not really going. You're going from Steven Adams to Jonas Valanciunas. You're not going from Steven Adams to someone.
It's not like one of those trades that you're like.
Yeah, you're like, well, that's changing them.
For either team.
I think that just flops them out. In terms of they've made this tank, this rebuild. Yes, Zion's a beast, but as a team, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they need some more pieces. I agree with you there. I don't expect much out of them. I put Chicago because I just don't see them winning games. With those guys there, I know they brought in some big name guys, but I just don't see the fit. I'm not that doesn't jump off the paper to me.
Yeah.
And then just they're not elite level. Zach LaVine is a great talent, but I think for example, and don't get me wrong, we're not hating. All these guys in the league are legit.
Oh, they're disgusting. They'll destroy any.
But for example, Zach LaVine, dominates in Chicago and he's the guy.
Yeah.
But we saw kind of when this year was Olympics this summer.
Yeah.
When he was in the United States team, he took much less of a role, in comparison with those other great guys. So I just feel there's different levels to it. You know what I mean?
There are levels to it. I think they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be a different style of basketball, just really quick run and gun type ball.
With Lonzo. Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan's also. I love DeMar DeRozan. Just been a massive fan of him forever. His 3-point percentage has gone up year by year, and that's his biggest Achilles heel. Yeah. I think Lonzo Ball's a good pickup. Caruso's always a good pickup. his mojo is going to be a little different than it was in LA. You know, when you're playing with LeBron and things like that, you can have a different type of mojo. Now he's gonna have a little bit more on his shoulders in terms of production and things like that.
Offensively, for sure.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right. But like you said, I don't think to the standard and what people are thinking of them. I think they'll probably end up flopping this year. In that remark, I'd say, and then. I mean, something that's probably pretty easy to do is the worst team, like worst record. Like, there's gonna be teams that are they might be fun to watch, but they're gonna be just absolute bottom of the barrel feeders. Cleveland, it just got centers and power forwards.
I can't even tell you. So they
got Colin Sexton. They've got Darius
Garland. And Garland. That's all I can think. Which
they've got.
I like both of those guys, guards, but it's like
They just don't have guards. They've got a bunch of bigs. Like, they picked up Lauri Markkanen. They got Taco Fall. They've got the pieces in terms of young core. They just don't have any. Like, I mean, Kevin Love's still there, but they just don't have a superstar.
They don't have star power. There's no star power.
So is Cleveland your pick for the worst team?
I'm gonna pick Cleveland for the worst record, I guess.
I think that the worst record would be like Houston or the Pistons.
Houston might be.
Pistons don't have no one. They picked up the first pick of the draft, but then that's it. Like Cade Cunningham, that's it. So they might be alright, but they're not going to win many games. They don't have any veteran leadership. Houston's going to be, again, not winning many games.
Getting rid of John Wall.
Fun to watch. Yeah. They're going to be fun to watch, man. Like, they've just got young, athletic dudes. Kevin Porter Jr. is a bucket.
He's a buck.
Like, Jalen Green's going to be nice this year. Josh Christopher. They're all going to be real good.
Really like JG. I like Jalen Green. I really like him. I like his mindset.
Yeah.
When I watched him in Summer League and how he was approaching, being a second pick, I really enjoyed how he went through that process and took the challenge of like he took it personally, you know what I mean? Like, he's competitive about it.
Yeah, he's real competitive about being that second pick. And I think that they won't have the worst record. I think the Pistons are going to hold that. Cleveland have more experience than what the Pistons have. I can't even name more than... I want to say I can't name more than one. Cade Cunningham.
But here's the question. So, like, for example...
They got that Killian Hayes, too.
So, for example, in that situation, when you're somebody like Cleveland, like you said, you got experience. Does that become more... When you're on a bad team and, like, going in... Like, everyone that's playing for Cleveland... They know they're not... Year. It's going to be a tough year, right?
Yeah.
When you have experienced guys that are going into that situation, I almost wonder if it's like, that hurts you. Because when you have a younger team and nothing's expected from you, but they're still trying to prove themselves, at least they're like hungry. Like, I can't imagine Kevin Love's really going into this season like, let's prove everyone wrong.
I don't think Kevin Love expects much anymore because like the dude's been told like we'll buy you out and he's like nah. Like, he'll take the money and just sit with the Cavs, just kick ride it out. You know what I mean? Like, other guys are like, oh, I need to win. He's like, I've won.
Yeah.
I've won.
I already got my shit.
Been in the Olympics. I've done all this stuff. Like, I don't really need to do much more, And I guess he's just...
That's what I'm saying. Does that almost become detrimental to your team? Like, that's...
It does. A situation like that, I feel like, will be detrimental. Like,
where you
can't get nothing for Kevin Love.
Yeah, it's like it hinders the progress. It's like we'd almost rather play with young, hungry guys that on paper aren't as good as a Kevin Love, but at least they're out there to win. But then you get into the whole business side of basketball and organization, which I don't like the whole tanking thing. I don't like the idea of it. I don't know. Quick, before we jump into Euroleague, let's talk, because we've been talking about this a lot. So Philadelphia, what's up with Philly's situation? What do you think about that?
I think that it sucks for Ben. Just because
he's Australian and you're from Australia.
No. It sort of sucks because all the other players that have done it, like Kawhi, he just shut out the Spurs. He didn't really have like a detrimental playoff series that everyone was already hating on him.
Yeah.
Then the guys that have just tried to freeze their way out of teams haven't had a detrimental experience 2 months prior. So he's trying to do this freeze out right after he was already the joke of the NBA. Like, it's like he's just giving up. I think that he's doing the right thing in terms of this team has just turned to him and said, like, the coach went at him in the press conference. The leaders went at him in the press conference. The city's coming for his neck. Like, Joel Embiid was on his side for a long time, and then now it's just basically said, we made the wrong decision by getting rid of Butler. We should just go rid of Ben. Like, that stuff sort of adds up, and like, you know what? I don't want to go play for a team that's just shitting on me in the media. You know, like, imagine sitting there and just getting just demolished after you just lost a game. And it's not all your fault, but like, you're going to say, oh, well, we need our guy to dunk the ball.
Right.
Of course he knows that. Everyone knows that. But we also need our star player to like get a bucket late in the game. They don't. Like, it's just one of those things that I think is just so.
It's a shame because it's a bad situation, and you hate to see teams get broken up like that. But for me, so I have a different, like, I hear what you're saying. I have a different approach to it. My thing is, like, in my opinion, all players that are really good or, you know, borderline great, you know, great players in the league, I think all of them at one point in their career face like adversity or like a big decision.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think what will define one's career is like, all right, what are you going to do in that situation? And I would have liked to see him rather be like, take ownership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know
I need to be better.
I need to be better.
Yeah.
And then come back the next year. Because I'll tell you what, one thing about America is that country loves a comeback story.
Oh, yeah.
So had he would have stuck it out, and we'll see, you know, we still don't know what's going to happen. But if he was to stay in Philly and come back and just be a completely different player when it comes to playoffs next year, you know, it would go, everything would flip.
Oh,
and everybody would forget about what happened this year.
Like, oh, look at him. I also think that he can still get that comeback story in a different team.
He can.
But like, this is the thing, man. Like, this whole trade situation is so crazy because he is an elite player. And none of these teams can put up what Philly wants for him. You know, so like, teams trying to put up, you know, like San Antonio's like, Keldon Johnson's off the table for someone like Ben Simmons. And it's like, dude, that guy can change your franchise like on one switch. Like, if he's just like clicks that jump shot and clicks that work ethic, this guy is the next generational like animal.
Yeah,
dude's amazing.
He
but
can
like,
be a problem.
It's just all what ifs right now.
Yeah,
in that respect, and that's just the, you know.
That's gonna be very. I'm really interested to see how Philly plays out. I think multiple, regardless of how you split it or how you look at it. I think everyone in that organization handled that poorly. I think Doc handled that poorly with what he said in the press conference. I think Joel handled it poorly recently, as we've seen like some of the comments. I think Ben has handled it poorly. I think I think everyone's just a little embarrassed because it's like you got beat by Atlanta, and the way that they got beat by Atlanta, especially after, you know, they lost a 30-point lead at home in, what was that, game 5?
Yeah.
It's just like, it was a bad situation. And you know Philly's a tough city already. So it was tough.
They're a really tough city.
It's tough in Philly right now, but
no, that's right. So for me, this year will be my first year of really getting into Euroleague, like, heavily. So I've watched it in the past, like games here and there, big games, or, you know, whatever, but I haven't really gotten into it to the point of I know all the players, or I know all the star players of each team. I know which team plays this way and whatever. Mm-hmm. Last year I sort of got into it more, but this year will be the year that I sit down and watch a lot of Euroleague and a lot of the NBA. So, first game was Thursday night last week.
Yeah,
Thursday night. So we were in here. We had the projector up on one end, TV on the other. I don't know if I have a photo of it or a video of it. If I do, it'll be here. Mm-hmm. Dude, Euroleague's gonna be fun this year.
It's you know, before we dive into Euroleague, I think it's a good idea to kind of just, for the casual viewer, or, you know, whoever you may be out there listening or tuning in, people need to understand what Euroleague is and how good it is. So, in my opinion, and most basketball people's opinion, it's the second best league in the world. Some people say it's better than the NBA. You can debate it either way, but the game's just different. The style's different. You've got very, very talented players all across the world, all across the league. But it is a very different style in terms of comparing it to the NBA, where the NBA is just more scoring. It's more flow freeing. It's harder to play defense in the league because of the way the rules are set up. And the way the rules are set up over here in Euroleague, you can play more aggressively.
It's
you can play more
play
physically.
Offense.
It's hard to play offense. It's hard to score. So when somebody scores 15, 20 in a Euroleague game, like that's
tough.
almost the equivalent of getting 30 in the league.
35.
Like it's just different. And people don't understand that. And you know, we were laughing the other night because we were watching Mike James play because he's back in EuroLeague, and I remember when he came over to Brooklyn towards the end of the year last year, and you're like listening to commentators and people on ESPN and stuff. You know, Mike James was a pretty good player in Europe, and
kind of a big deal in Europe.
I mean, it's like, dude, you guys have no idea because like. You know, we're actually over here and we're watching it, and we talk to people that either been in EuroLeague or they understand and they watch, and just how quality the games are, the coaching, the tactics. I mean, I really do like. I think that people back in the States would enjoy watching it because it seems like every game is played to the fullest. You're playing max.
Man. And because it's on point spread as well. I just wish that the accessibility of EuroLeague was larger, like a larger reach. Because if you push that across into the US, like it's just it would be unbelievable.
I think
and it's not even that many games.
No, it isn't. I think that we would watch it. It was just with the time difference. It's so.
But it ain't that bad. Like I mean, we're watching the game. So say we watch the game at 7. That's 12 p.m. on the East Coast.
Yeah, you got.
But like you throw that on, and then like you throw the replays on ESPN later, and SportsCenter pushes EuroLeague more. Dude, the ability of some of these guys is unbelievable. Like they would come into the league and be great players.
Especially when you got guys overseas. Especially you got Americans overseas that people know anyway. Like when you got Shane Larkin, when you got Mike James, when you got guys like that. I mean, you got Mirotic, who isn't an American but's played in Chicago for a while. Like guys know who they are, and so I am like it's a little bit disappointing. Like as a basketball purist, you'd like to see that more, but then there's people back home that are like sports centers covering too much basketball anyway.
Already,
college and NBA.
We're very biased in terms of basketball coverage needed, but I wish people could watch it more, and I think we're going to like the point of doing it in the podcast more is being able to like push it across to people and be like, hey, look, this guy's gone really good in the EuroLeague. He's American, watch him. Mike James, he's killing it. Shane Larkin, like these guys are killing it, and these guys are guys that could be on any NBA roster, but they would rather go to Europe, just kill in Europe, get paid more money. And just go ahead and just be goated in Europe at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's where we sort of like lay, and we want to sort of talk about like week by week, probably the highlight games or highlight players of the week and stuff. And like we sat down and we watched Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
The hell's Mike Jones?
Mike Jones.
Mike James. He's with Monaco. I think it's Monaco's first year back in the EuroLeague. I think they're a couple years old.
I didn't follow Monaco until he went there.
Yeah, I don't think they were in the EuroLeague. I think this is their first year in the EuroLeague. So we watched that game. Man, like they're gonna be nice. Not even just in terms of Mike James. So Mike James is the guy that played for Brooklyn last year. He threw the backboard pass to KD.
Played for CSKA last year.
CSKA Moscow. He is like at the moment they sort of have him pretty much at the pinnacle of EuroLeague players. Yeah. Scorers, just ability, just everyone would want him sort of on their team. But his team, Monaco, this year could be really good. They have lob threats, they have these 3-point shooters, they have lockdown defenders. Like, as the year progresses, I think they're going to be really good.
They got a really interesting team. Before we dive more into the games and some of the games we watch, if you guys have a favorite team in EuroLeague or a favorite player, drop them in the comments. We'd love to interact and see who you guys like, and maybe we can open some dialogue about some players or some teams moving forward in the next episode. My favorite game we watched, though, Tel Aviv game.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern Munich's fun to watch. So Bayern Munich playing Maccabi Tel Aviv. Bayern was in control all game. They're a well-coached, just well-system team in Maccabi. They were just picking them apart, basically. Tel Aviv was down the whole game. Bayern just looked in control. Fourth quarter started. A couple minutes in, Wilbekin subs in, Scotty Wilbekin, and he just went off.
Yeah, I don't know if you like remember because we had been watching so many games, so much basketball for so many hours. It got to a point like they were down 6, I think, but I just could feel this shift, and I turned to you and I was like, they're gonna win this game. Like I don't know how, but they are. And then sure enough, Scotty just took over that game.
Yeah,
I'll
try and put some highlights here if I can get him. Just hit a deep 3, hit an M1 floater. No, he didn't. He got fouled and hit both free throws. He just went off, and he was the player of the week in the EuroLeague this year because of it. Just solid basketball, man. Like it was the best game to watch. And like I said, we had the projector and the TV going, so we watched multiple games. We're just turning side to side the whole night. That was the game of the night, game of the week in my opinion. We didn't watch the second night games.
No,
but I know that Barcelona is going to be
Barca.
So hard to beat. They might really just take it out this year.
Well, we caught the first half of their game, right?
Yeah.
We did. We caught the first half. Obviously very good every year. But just from the standpoint of like defensively and offensively being like explosive on both sides, like they're really good. They're really deep. They can score from multiple positions and arguably, might have the best player in the league this year. With you got Mirotic.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a favorite, I would pick them. They're just a joy to watch because you can tell they're so well coached, and I would love to like see how they practice.
Yeah.
And like how they communicate and like how their scouting is, everything. Like I just feel like they do everything to a higher standard. That would be my guess. I don't know what it's like, but
the way it is that way. Yeah, like you just feel like they just that step above. But then the team that won it last year, FS, had Shane Larkin, so we turned that game on first, and that was they played Real Madrid, and Real Madrid picked them to pieces.
Yeah. So
and that's Real Madrid. It's another well drilled, great Spanish team that could really be contenders this year. They're always contenders in the EuroLeague, and it's cool because they're Spanish, and that's Barcelona and Real Madrid are huge in soccer as well.
Right.
So, but they just picked apart FS. Like Shane Larkin still had a big game. I think he was the fantasy points leader in that EuroLeague challenge thing. But they lost by 20. They were down 20 the whole game, and they just won EuroLeague last year. So, I think that aspect is also really, really dope. In terms of seeing that and being wow, the reigning champions just got smacked.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. It just goes to show each year is different. Obviously you got teams. You got guys moving around different teams and stuff. But Larkin's a treat to watch, man. He is.
Yeah, you love Larkin.
From playing his position, it's just watching him and it's like art, man. He from all 3 levels he scores it. He's quick, but he can change. he's lightning quick, but he can change pace. He just always seems to be in the right spot on the floor. And then when he gets daylight, it's he's capitalizing. It just seems like he shoots it at such an efficient rate. And I what I like about him is I don't think that he's very efficient in his movements. He doesn't waste dribbles. He's very fluid and efficient in his movement and his motion. I also think he was really out there to win. He wants to win. He's not
there just to go through the motions and just get bread.
Yeah, just get money. And at this point, it's he could do that if he wanted to. But that's not what got him there. I really think that good things have happened to him in his career because he's approached it the way he has. He's great. Who's your? Let's say we got a few names down here, but is there anyone specific you're looking out for in EuroLeague as the best player or somebody you're just interested in watching?
No, I love watching Mike James. He's just explosive, steals. When he's locked in, he's elite. Sometimes you can see him just going through the motions and just not really into the game as much. But then like when he's locked in, he's just elite, man. Like he's hitting mid, he's hitting threes, he's going to the rim, he's getting steals and dunking that thing. Like he is nice. Mirotic is a player that you can watch, and it's just like he's not like flashy or just unbelievable. He's just dominating the game, posting up and scoring. He's hitting threes. He's making good defensive plays. Like he's just solid. I love just watching Mike James and then Wilbekin the other night. Like I mean, I hadn't seen him play in a long time.
Yeah.
And you watch him play the other night, and it was like, wow.
He's like...
That was explosively fun.
Yeah, like, he's very hard on his sleeve type of player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's almost an old school player. Like, he's not super, like, I'm gonna dance with it. Like, he obviously, you know, he's crafty, but he kind of beats to his own drum. He's a little different in the way he gets it done, but he seems like he just gets it done.
I feel like he just, like, sees reads and then just plays from the reads. He doesn't go, oh, I've got a mismatch. Bah, 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 bah. It's like, hey, I'm coming off this screen. Oh, I'm pretty open.
Shoot it. Yeah, it's like he just dumbs the game down. Yeah. And, like, he capitalizes on other teams' mistakes. Like, they were playing, you know, he's just calling ball screen at the end of the game. They're switching. He's like, all right, if you're going to keep switching, I'm taking this dude one-on-one. Yeah. Whether it's to the basket, getting fouled, or I'm going to hit shots if he's too far back.
And we were doing that. Like, I mean, we were sitting there like, why do they keep switching?
Yeah, I mean, they finally, sitting there. Like, why are they switching? Then they finally, I believe they trapped, like, on the last possession. And he still found a way to get the ball back and he got fouled.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm sitting back thinking, like, damn, like, I'm really not letting this dude continue to beat me, right? Like, but that was a good game to watch. I really enjoyed watching that game. I'm looking forward to
this week will be good as well. Yeah. I mean, it's like 3 days away. I think October 7th. So the team that's in our league, Žalgiris, they play the first game of the week. In the Euroleague, they play Zenit. So that would be good to watch.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, Zenit looked tough too. I watched a little bit of their game the other night. But yeah, I think that'll be fun. It's fun having a team in our league that is in the Euroleague. We're actually going to try and catch one of their games live, just to experience that. You know, Euroleague is just such a massive thing, and like we said, if it could be portrayed more in the US, it'd be huge. And that's why, for us to do it, it'd be cool that we're trying to just, you know, push it across in our podcast, because people might actually really enjoy it. You know, the more highlights, even if it's just watching highlights, like as a hooper. You watch EuroLeague highlights, it's pretty fun, man.
Yeah, so also, the other thing I left out, the fans here, the pride, and like, it's unmatched. It's not like the same as being an NBA fan. Like,
no, and that's like we've been talking about, like the fans just at Yonava, but like, I think the culture of the football fans, like soccer fans in Europe, has pushed into the European basketball fan, like, because the basketball fan here, and there's a video that I'm gonna tag it below, and it's the US, like, NBA fans. It's more of a show, where the EuroLeague, it's passion, or even any European basketball.
It's about winning.
It is a passion. They want to win. They want their guys to hit their shots. They want their guys to dunk the ball. They want to win the game.
Yeah, like, it's very different from where, like,
culture.
I'm a Laker fan, like, but when Kobe was there,
go the Lakers, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very different, you know, and obviously, like, it's a different market, and like the entertainment is different. Like, NBA is it definitely feels more like NBA is more like entertainment based, and like, oh, we want guys to have big numbers and talk about triple doubles and all this stuff. Where like EuroLeague, man, it's about fans and the pride, and it's really like they get into it, man. It's
actually really fun to watch. It's really cool. Like I said, I'll add a video. I'll either put some stuff here or put it below, because, like, dude, flares, throwing chairs, fighting. Like, these people are willing to, like, die and fight for these teams, for basketball teams.
It's like when we played Žalgiris the first game, you know, they're on our court, it's first game, and they bring the...
Yeah, they bought receipt rolls and just threw them all over the court, and then after the game, they lit flares to leave their bus out, and then, like, put their flares into our showers, like, through the windows and stuff.
And that's like a small taste of what it's
like.
That's
you know nothing.
What I mean?
Yeah, that was just their one little away end. We get to play there in a couple months, and that's like 25,000 people stadium, I think. Yeah. So I mean, they're probably gonna have a decent amount of crowd, especially if we're playing well. But like, man, like we said, we're gonna watch more EuroLeague, get through that and stuff. But like, something like interesting for us that we've been sort of doing and listening to, like, a lot. So I have a little Ford Focus Fiesta. Ford Focus manual stick shift, and we just whip around Yonava and, you know, go to Conus when we can. We just listen to a lot of music, and one thing, so we went from listening to a lot of CLB. So when we recorded episode 1, we were still heavy certified lover boy listeners. I think I've cut back this week. I don't even think I listened to the full episode. I'm losing my mind. The full album. I haven't listened to it back. But we started listening more to Rap Caviar on Spotify, that playlist, and we just came across more and more music.
It's really good right now.
It's great. I mean, the amount of music that's being released and stuff's been good. So like, what's sort of the stuff that you've been enjoying listening to this week? I know you got big into Baby Keem's album.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't get into Keem's album because Drake and Kanye's came out, so I feel like it kind of like
took a back seat.
Yeah, it took a back seat for a second. I know like a lot of people got into it, but I didn't get into it till just this past week and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed with it, like top to bottom. I think like the production, I'm really impressed with like the beat selection and the creation of the beats. There's a lot of like beat switches on it, a lot of different vibes. I think like he touched a lot of different pockets, like from hardcore, like the intro is just like a banger, like, and then he's got a couple with Kendrick on there that are obviously they go hard and they're more of the popular ones, but I like some of the low key ones. You know, he's got like he's really talking on some of them.
So like obviously this one will be on the spot, so I wrote out a thing like what's your, I think something we can do is like, what's your song of the week? Like, what's something you listen to the most this week that you know that our listeners and watchers can like listen to?
Song of the week for me. So we'll get into this project, but there's this. He's on the rise. Like he's from St. Louis, Missouri, so it's the same state that I'm from. But his name's Ryan Trey.
Yep.
Kind of gives you like a Bryson Tiller type vibe.
Yeah,
R&B, singing.
You've been playing it a bit in the locker room.
Yeah, singing, rapping, like type pocket. He's got a few on there that are like they're tough. But for me, there's one called Selfish, and then there's one called Far from St. Louis, and it's the outro. And like both of those were like, when I heard them, I was like heavy rotation.
Yeah.
So those are like, I would say one of those two for the week. That would be my pick.
That's something for people to listen to. I think that's what you? For me, bro. Like, I've been listening to Rap Caviar so much. I sort of loved listening to a little bit more of Donda. Hurricane is slapped.
Man,
we've been slapping Hurricane. That thing on Donda goes crazy.
It's for me. It's like Ye's verse is good.
Yeah.
But the features on that, like,
just insane, man. Like, and Baby goes hard. Little Baby goes hard. I also love like Joyner Lucas dropped this week. One with Cole and his the Dreams Unfold one. I think it's with Lil TJ.
The video with Cole.
The video with Cole's
Your
fire.
Heart, yeah, that's fire.
So those two songs are like his little things tough. They're ones that I would look out for. I've been listening to Hurricane a lot this week. Joyner Lucas, both those songs. Even Rod Wave, Already Won with Dirk.
Yeah, one that's kind of flew under the radar a little bit because like he dropped
so many songs too. Though.
Yeah, like he dropped so many songs. Like you got to kind of sift through all of them. But I mean, he dropped in summer, towards the end of summer. But I really liked his project as well. I
think a lot of his songs and a lot of those things coming from that project are coming to light now. You know, they flew under the radar with CLB and Donda. And it's been a vibe, man. Like I said, the little silver Ford Focus has been bumping.
That thing's
been bumping, bro. And
before, after practice.
Oh, man. On the way to coffees, whatever. Yeah. Like it's been chill. Like even tonight, before shooting the podcast, we went to go pick up food, and we've just been bumping music, sitting there waiting for the food to be done. But like before we jump off music, like you want to talk more about that project you've been listening to more, or what? Like,
which one's that?
The guy from St. Louis.
So yeah, Ryan Trey. It's a 64 East Saga.
Yeah.
Man, that project. I think one of the things that people don't give artists enough credit for is like creating a aura or like a vibe around whatever it is, album, mixtape, whatever. And I feel like I think a lot of people like listening to music in their car at nighttime when they're driving.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's like the best time to like, and whether it's like with your friends or you're just by yourself, right? Like, it, for whatever reason, it seems to hit different, right? And I feel like this album is like, that is what that's for.
Yeah.
And he's released some visuals because like I follow him and stuff, and obviously I'm just interested because I'm, I do music myself. I'm interested in how people, portray themselves in their music and like kind of what they're going for. And I feel like him embracing where he's from, and which, St. Louis is somewhat on the map, but not like, it's not like being in LA or
not music wise. No.
Yeah, it's not like, it's not like a place where you're like, oh, that's a heavy music. Lots of people come from that.
Yeah, like you think Atlanta, you think LA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
New York. There's different places, but I think like embodying that and like him talking about that, and then just like he's singing and talking a lot of R&B, so it's heavy like relationships.
Yeah.
And me talking to you, and like I think it's dope from an artist perspective because it's like somebody's out there listening to that, and they're like, holy shit, this is about me.
They're relating. Yeah,
like,
it is. Yeah,
this is me. Like he's talking about me right now. And like that's a very interesting. It's tough. Like I know, like from writing music about people or about whatever, like when you're talking about someone or a certain moment in your life, it's like they're getting a snapshot about like what you thought at that moment about them.
Yeah.
Or like how you feel about them present or past or whatever. So I think it's really cool like when people kind of let their guard down and do that, but also like you have to do it in like a wavy way. You gotta kind of.
You gotta do.
It's gotta be fly though. It's gotta be it's gotta be something you can bump your head to and move to. Bro, Meek dropped.
Yeah. I haven't even given time to that. So obviously, album of the week is that album right there.
Yeah, I mean, with it dropping this week, I mean, it's got the most buzz around it.
We
haven't ran through it enough yet.
We'll give it the Worldwide Hoopers podcast album of the week, the one we were just talking about.
Okay, all right.
We'll give it the album of the week. I'm going to listen to it myself a little bit more. We've been listening to it here and there in the gym and stuff, but I think the Worldwide Hoopers podcast album of the week.
Got it.
We may as well.
Tough.
We got song of the week, got album of the week. It's not going to be every week, but
no.
I think that being able to just portray more music, and that's the thing, we have two different people doing these podcasts. Like next week, an Australian artist might drop that you would have no idea about.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna put it as album of the week, and we're gonna sit there and listen to it.
No, I'm hoping that happens. I like when people. Put
I played you a little bit of Aussie music today.
Yeah.
A little vibey type thing, little fundamentals for the Australian people.
Shout out Fundamentals.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like the vibe.
Yeah.
I kind of got like, I don't know, like the instruments and stuff that they use, which a lot of people like, especially in rap nowadays, is not.
It's very more instrumental rather than beat.
Yeah,
it wasn't beat. It's not beat heavy music. It's like very.
You're hearing instruments.
Raw instruments all the way through type thing. I mean, like we say it all the time. We can talk all night. We can talk all night long.
Yeah. About
anything really. Like we've already spoken for 54 minutes.
Yeah.
Like.
Before we wrap up, we were talking like, we'll close, I guess, with more hoop stuff.
Yeah.
We were talking about this the other day about like how we live in a different generation of basketball with social media and stuff, and everybody has their opinions about like highlight tapes.
Yeah.
So like,
bro,
give me your rundown. Like, how do you feel about that?
Highlight tapes are the reason I'm a Division I basketball player, and we can say that. I can comfortably say that. My coaches at EKU never saw me play in person. Never. They saw maybe one full game tape from an AAU game, and they only watched highlight tapes.
Mm-hmm.
We can sit there and watch. I don't know if it's live anymore, but it's my high school senior mixtape. You haven't even seen it yet.
No.
I'm playing against some of them. Like, you look at the competition, you'd be like, oh my goodness, how did he make it to this Division I level? Right. Like you look at that and it's like I'm playing a men's league, kids league. Yeah. So like highlight tapes can do so much for some of these kids.
Yeah.
Some kids get put on such high of a pedestal because of these highlight tapes, but they might not be at that level that these people are putting them in.
Play,
and that actually builds a lot of pressure on some of these kids. Like these guys, they might have a fire 3-minute mixtape. But then people go to watch their game and they might score 15 and have 11 boards. That's a great game. But they're expecting to have 30, a windmill dunk and a post-up. because of what they're seeing on the highlights, and then they get hated on for it. And that's what I think that's where our like society has moved towards, is like you need that approval. Like kids are posting their highlight tapes after every game almost.
Well, I think that like highlight tapes, I think they're cool. But I think it's just more for like the casual viewer. Like if you're actually like a coach or a scout or like a hooper, like you actually watch games.
You watch full games, or you watch like extended highlights of games.
Yeah, my best friends back home, both of them, they're coaches at the college level, and they both told me like they don't watch highlights.
Yeah.
Occasionally, maybe you get sent a highlight and you're like, okay, you check it out. But if they do watch a highlight tape, they'll watch the first minute, and in the first minute they'll know like, okay, if he's good enough,
legit,
then I'm gonna go check. All right, let me watch a game. Let me watch a half.
Yeah, exactly.
If they can tell he doesn't know how to play in a highlight tape, it's like we don't need to watch any more of him.
Yeah.
But I just like overall, it's kind of frustrating that people like watch highlight tapes and immediately like either say somebody's really good or really bad based off of because me and you could go in any gym anywhere in the world and we could cut something up and make it look really good or really bad.
Look amazing.
Like if we sat there and filmed it long enough, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's kind of my.
There's that a lot of that YouTube community. Like there's guys that are buckets. I think his name's Daniel Frieger. He goes to like a lot of just like outdoor basketball hoops, and they just go and play pickup, and then they have highlights from those. Baller's Life does it too. These guys, who's guarding this guy at the court?
Yeah.
They're playing just random guys that came out of their house after smoking weed or drinking beer all day. You know what I mean? Like, and it's there's some hoopers, but there's levels to this game. I think that but also in a professional stance for like professional players, it's also sort of like a business card in terms of the off season. Like, hey, this is Lachlan Anderson. These are his Macedonian highlights. Here's my business card.
Yeah.
Like this is Lachlan's highlights.
No,
so then when they watch the highlights in the professional sense, I feel like it's more held at a higher rank than what it is in college. In college, they look at a little bit of a highlight and go, I need to watch all games and stuff. But in Europe, they're sort of like, I need to watch his highlights. Okay, his highlights are good. He can score. Now I'm going to watch games.
Yeah, and so for like those of you who don't know, like with us, or with any other professional at NBA level or overseas, like our highlight tapes are different than like Ball is Life or like a high school kid or a college kid.
Oh yeah.
Because like the tape that like the audience you're giving your tape to, like my tape is going to be more of like a scouting report of like, all right, let's go through everything. Let's go through offensively, like pick and roll reads, passing, finishing, like floaters, mid-range threes. Yeah. It's not going to be like put the music
these are his best dunks, these are his best threes, these are his best
slow-mo.
This is his fake between behind.
Yeah, like
Hezzy.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, those are fun. Like maybe you do like a 1 minute, 2 minute video every year, like showing a couple of your like plays and stuff. But that's not like what you're turning over on your resume to get to like where we are now. Like that doesn't really happen. Like maybe, with guys that played a higher level and like you can just watch and be like, oh yeah, he's a freak athlete. Like,
how he plays.
Yeah. But like that's not
that's
not what's happening. No. So it's like when you're handing somebody your CV or your resume, like for us, for those of you back home watching, it's like it's not even remotely the same as like a Ball is Life video or something you see on your Instagram reels. It's actually like most people's agents are breaking your film down and then they're like, all right, these are your deficiencies. Yeah. These are, what you're good at.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like when I'm making my stuff, last year I had a lot of transition dunks or a lot of, steals and dunks, or just like, I think my highlight tape only had like 5 or 6 dunks. Dude, I'm athletic. Like these guys know that I'm athletic. If they watch games, they're going to see that I'm athletic.
They don't need to watch.
They're going to see that I can hit a lot of wide open threes or a lot of threes off screens. Like it happens. So you have to cut a lot of that out. You can have 30-minute tapes. Yeah. Like, bro, you average 20 points a game. You're going to have a 35-minute highlight tape. Like, bro, you got to cut it down to like, oh, he did this in one game. Like this turnaround jump shot, look what he can do. Yeah. He can do this hit and finish. He can do this type of putback. He can do this type of finish. Like, it's a whole different ballgame because you can make a highlight tape that is just sensational. That people are like, oh my God. But then the European people, or like any type of pros, are going to look at it, pro coaches are going to look at it and be like,
whatever, yeah.
Like, I want to see more. Yeah. Like, where is these broken down highlights?
Exactly.
I don't know.
So, I mean, we say that, but it, like, just because we love basketball, we love hoops, we do enjoy watching the highlights. Like, like, we watch highlights. Don't get it twisted. Like, who is somebody that, like, who's like a go-to highlight like person like you watch? Either like it don't matter, either level,
like,
high school.
I'm telling you, all the way through college, high school, like I got basketball practice tonight, so I go get in the zone. Yeah. Watching Andrew Wiggins' highlight tape from high school was unbelievable. I watch it now and I'm sort of like, you know, I've seen other highlight tapes like it, but back in the day, like I'll put it here, like him dunking and stuff. Like I would sit there in high school and be like.
I just remember on that tape like multiple dunks where he's just like
floats.
He's just like looking down at the rim like
he just floats
punching
up.
It like
he's just like
what are you doing? Like it's crazy.
That's one that I really love to watch. And then like for me in terms of being like wanting to learn more about hoops and stuff, I watch a lot of KD. Mm-hmm. I've watched a lot of Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm. High school or
now NBA type shit. Yeah, just trying to be more of a pro. For me to like develop different moves and stuff like that. Yeah. Because I'm not KD, I'm not Jason Tatum, and I'll never be close to either one of those guys. But you know, my build, the way I play, it's sort of the same genre, and that's where I can sit there and watch those type of guys, and that's where I'm watching KD and Jason Tatum.
Exactly.
And like, who do you what highlights?
Who do I watch? Oh, so my highlights. Oof. There's a lot to pick from, dude. I thought like John Wall's high school.
That's OD.
It's crazy to me because it's just like
that's considered greatest of all time.
It's it's up there, and it's like I always thought it was really cool because he was right-handed and he'd like to dunk everything with his left.
Everything.
And so I just thought that was so like that's wild to me. I think it's so there's a couple of guys in the league that are like that where they're like right-handed but they like to dunk everything left, and I think that's crazy.
That's okay. I can barely lay the ball up left-handed sometimes. Like to think about just dunking it left, like that's just a whole other level. Yeah.
But in terms of like, I really related to what you just said in terms of like that's majority of like when I'm watching highlights. Yeah. It's to watch to like I'm hoping I can take like this much of something from somebody. Yeah. So for me, Steph, Trae Young, Dame, Chris Paul, like I'll watch a lot of old Steve Nash. Yeah. Just trying to like pick up like anything really, moves, like what they're seeing, like a lot of it. Like I'll watch like a lot of pick and roll highlights. Yeah. Or just like I'll literally type in pick and roll reads. Yeah. And it'll be like good and bad reads and understanding like, you know, just reading the defense, and like it's like training your mind. So like it's film study, so when you see it yourself you can figure it out. Like I enjoy like watching, like we were talking about this the other day, like Dame is like a freak in terms of he'll set up like he's gonna use the screen, and then like the guard is forcing him into the screen and he'll just burst in between his guy and the guy who's guarding him and the screen that's being set. It looks so he won't even. Yeah, it's so crazy because you're like, who is that explosive to like
split a gap of this? So
it's like he's not
in terms of like we'll put it here. So like screen's here, Dame's here, and the guard is here. So the guard will jump off and onto Dame's hip to make him go around the screen. And Dame shoots through the middle of between the screen and the player.
And you're just like, who? First, like, who does that?
Who thinks of that? And then who can just do that so easily?
It's like most people are trying to split after they use the screen. And you're
come off the screen, there's a hezzy, boom, through the middle.
So, I mean, yeah, just picking up on that footwork, change of speed, and it's amazing. It's amazing to watch, guys.
And this, for me, like, and like, I'm going to say it because it's like the casual basketball watcher listening to us say, I watch a lot of KD and Jason Tatum to get better, or like you saying, I'm watching Dame, Steph, and we're not saying we're going to be at that level ever,
or try to play like
that we're going to play like them ever. It's the fact of like watching, going, okay, he made a stop dribble on the right foot, switched and went the other way. Like you then go into your individual practices and go, boom, stop dribble, cross. Oh, I can do that. I can work on my game there. Their bag is immense. Like it's full of everything. For us, it's like you got to fine tune it to what you're going to be able to use in the games.
Mm-hmm.
But even just from watching a lot of film this summer and doing it in workouts, like my game is built. But it will never reach the level of some of these guys. Like these guys are the superstars.
These guys are savants. Like you're talking about, like Kyrie's a savant. Like he really, like, he does stuff with the basketball that people have never done before.
No, and never.
Same with Harden. You know, I mean, a lot of these guys reinvented the game. Like I remember like a couple years back when Harden was doing all this sidestep and step back, and he's traveling. He's like, and now you guys just haven't seen this done.
It's just an evolution of the game.
Yeah, it's different. He's creating different ways to score the ball. These guys are creating different ways. So it's more like that to me. Like half of it is like awe, like watching in awe, like you're a kid still. But the other half is like, what can I take? Like shot variety. Like Trae Young, I watched him shoot floaters, and I'm like, I want to get to the point where I'm 15 feet out and I could just on the run stop,
throw it,
put a floater up like that,
and it goes bottoms every time.
It's crazy,
man. I think we'll talk about it more through the podcast in terms of just bringing sort of film analysis into it as well, because there's only so much NBA, Euroleague music that we can talk about. More, it's going to turn into like analysis of players. You know, like how many tapes of Jason Tatum have I watched this week? Look at this. This is what we've built from it, and that's just something that we can build on, like, bro, as a podcast and as a community. If we can build a community around this podcast, we love it. We're going to try and bring out workouts, try and bring out footage, we're trying to bring out anything.
For the hoop junkies out there.
Yeah, it's like a hoop junkie type of situation. And man, I'm telling you right now, if we get 4 views on this video, I don't care. I'm happy making it. It's easy to make. We have 2 different film cameras going. Like, look, I'm right here on Jackson's, and then Jackson's right here on mine. So it's like, it's the same type of situation. We just love making this type of footage. And like Jack said earlier, like hit us up on Instagram. It's going to be up the top here and at the bottom here, as you can see. Hit us up on Instagram. We're going to put some Q&As out this week. Just have people just work with us. Let us know what you want to hear about. More LKL, more Euroleague, more NBA, more workout type of situations, more music even. But if you really watched episode 1 and then you've now watched episode 2, we really appreciate you. Appreciate all the love and support always. Because, you know, it's what keeps us going overseas and what gives us more like to do. You know, this is something for us to do. It's a Monday night. We're doing absolutely nothing else. We had 2 days off. So I'm going to edit this up. It's going to be up next week. And we're excited about it. But do you have anything else to say to the people?
Man, stay blessed. Everybody have a good week, man. Start of a new week.
Exactly right.
Start it right, you know. Everybody stay safe out there.
Yeah. It's a crazy world.
Crazy times.
But stay safe. Reach out to us if you guys need anything or want anything. Or want to see anything on this podcast. But other than that, man, peace out from me. Peace out from J3. Peace.